Hi, Vicki. This is your fountain in the current stage of design completion. It may be lit a little brightly. I'll go in and show you some detail on this. Tallest column is just shy of 6 feet tall. I want to show you what it looks like when it's wet. A water bottle here. See how the colors come alive when it's wet? Now, as I designed it, I thought this was the view from your window. The first view that I saw, you know, from your coming through your front entrance and out that back set of doors. So that's one vantage. Then we'll come around to your kitchen or your dining area. The elevations are staggered, and I will do a little bit more in cutting. There's a couple of them that are just about the same height as one another, and I'll either pedestal them before I put them in concrete or trim a little bit off. Now the tops of all of these columns right now, it's the natural. Here, I'll take one of these lights up and show you. That's the natural top. And in order to make it flow uniformly, if you'd like to see uniform wetness all over, I'd have to cut and polish the tops, and that's typically what I do. And I'll show you a column here that is cut and polished on the top so you see what I'm talking about. Now I have a big support pillar, a beam in the middle of the room here, so I got to get around that to show you the other side. And there's an example of a polished top. These columns here, it's cut and polished. You can see that the color of the parent magma, it's kind of dark here, but it's much darker. And then there's little flecks of gold, lighter color in there. Those were little parts of the lava that crystallized earlier than the rest, but the parent magma was this mostly black. And then on the surface it oxidizes. This is not your grouping, that's just one that happened to be there that was polished. Okay, so I should have wet this down before I started the video. Alright, so here's your view from the outdoor dining area. And straight on from what I consider the opposite side. Now beyond this, where that framed picture is on the wall is where where your doors would be. And if you could see straight through there to your front door. Come on in. Go around. My tenant upstairs, Doug, is going to come in. And then from your pool, it's a little harder. I got to go through the jungle over here. Yeah, I'll lock up, Doug. Okay, see ya. Okay, so from the pool, I'm going to have to step back around here. These plants. It gets a little busy behind there because I've got other stuff in the room, but hopefully you can see the footprint of the fountain here. There's a lot of interest in these columns. There's a lot of detail, bright markings. Stuff like that. There's a lot of interest in that. There's no other columnar rock in the world that has coloration like this. The color combined with the sway and motion, and then also I think the height to width ratio makes it dramatic material to work with. Coming back around here to the original viewing angle. I'll see if I can get back far enough to get the whole thing in the frame. Like I said in my email, Vicki, I usually improve on it over a week or so. I mean, I put a lot of effort into it originally in the design, and usually it stays about 85% the way I designed it the first day, but I keep on looking at each part of it and looking at the columns that I have in the shop and swapping one out for another, seeing if it looks better. Sometimes I get my buddy Doug, who you just heard his voice, to come in and critique it. He's a very artistic guy. Has sold a lot of high dollar art, fine art himself. Sorry for the wires all over the floor. You'll just have to picture pebble at the base of this, lights nestled down into the pebble. We try to hide those hot spots so you don't see catch a lot of hot spots in your eye, but we can nestle them down into pebble and hide a lot of that. Now, I told you, Vicki, that I'd show you the bigger stuff, the not the Colombian basalt, but the Chinese basalt. And that's this stuff here. It's massive. It's 8 to 10 inches in diameter, and this piece in the center does have a lot more motion than that stuff typically does. Most of the Colombian basalt, I keep saying Colombian. Colombian is actually twice the girth of this. Most of the Chinese basalt is much more like a pencil straight. Now the coloration of this is kind of drab compared to the andesite, but there is a little bit of variety here. It's not just this solid charcoal or black. This has a little bit of interest to it. But the size of that is just massive. So if you decide that you want something that's just bigger and shows up from a distance more, I've got a nice amount of this stuff here. That piece is over 6 feet tall, I believe, the centerpiece. So I'll go ahead and post this and get your initial reaction to it. All right, thank you for your patience. There were a lot of interruptions today, and but I'm real happy with what we've got here so far. And some of these columns have real striking patterns and colors and contrasting little blobs of various shapes and so forth. They got a lot of glare right now, so it's hard to show you this detail. What I thought maybe I'd do, if you don't roll this out, if you'd like to see it in the daylight, I can take it outside in the daylight and show you what this looks like in the daylight. All right. There you go.